I live.
Matthew should be joining us here in a few minutes. I sent him the link. He should be jumping on. We also are live on the YouTube channel. I had to here in a few minutes. I sent him the link. He should be jumping on. Let me shut off. Let me mute the YouTube channel. Yeah, we're also on the YouTube channel. I had to restart the YouTube channel because they closed my other account. So I have to well, it was basically all reviews, and I didn't give a shit about links. I put links in. I wasn't going to go back, Tim, and erase links. I wasn't going to do that. I mean, there wasn't a lot of, I don't know, 20 or 30 videos.
I'm not watching the broadcast.
Yeah, we're also on the YouTube channel. I had to restart the YouTube channel because they closed my. Who's listening to the replay on YouTube?
Sorry, it's Tom.
Okay, my bad. No big deal. Yeah, I could have went in there. There's about 20 or 30 videos, but I didn't want to go back in there and remove links and remove all that other shit. I just didn't feel like doing that. So I was just like, take my channel, do whatever you want to do with it. So they shut it.
They shut you down for reviews.
Yeah, and plus it was linked to Zamplebox. So yeah. When Zamplebox got into a little bit of issues with their channel, that kind of affected my channel as well. So,
oops.
And yeah, so hopefully Matthew will be joining us here. Today's show is we're going to focus a lot on the new bill, which is the SB 793. When Matthew gets on here in a few minutes here, I was like talking to Tom about it. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, Tim, yourself, but they made some amendments to it, and pretty scary, man, because it looks like the new one they added will basically kill DIY in California. So
what's the name of that bill? I'll look it up quick.
Yeah, SB 793, and I will give you the link. I will post the link for you, my brother, on the Jericho. It'll take you right to their thingamajiggy. Let's see here. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, it's pretty much going to kill DIY, and if that happens, there's the link. I posted the link there. Let me also add it to here. There it is.
Copy.
Yeah, basically they added some new. They got it through. They re-amended some of it, so it's got to go through another. It's got to go through another 2 stages before it gets signed by the governor. But it passed easily 8-1 on this first. I don't know what you call it. Session. You want to call it a session? Is that what you would call it, Tim?
I guess that's what you'd call it.
Yeah,
they're not even legitimate sessions. I don't know.
Not what I would call it, but
they're heavy-handed.
Yeah. Well, article, let's see, it would be section 9 or article 9 of section whatever is a tobacco. Oh, here we go. I think there we go. There's Matthew. Welcome, Matthew. Thank you for joining us, man. I appreciate you. I know you're busy. He was just on Phil's show last night and was killing it, so I had to have him back here.
What's going on? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're just talking about the SB 793 and the new amendment that they added to it, which is let's see, I guess we would call it Article 9 or Article 5, Section 9, tobacco products, flavored enhancers, means any product designed, manufactured, produced, marketed, or sold to produce flavor when added to a tobacco product. So basically, they're doing
what New York did. They're closing all the loopholes. They're going for components. They're going for flavor shots. They're going for nicotine shots. They're going for CBD enhancers. They're going for everything.
Everything, and basically, I want people to understand in California. These people that are saying, I'll just DIY my shit, that's not going to happen if this goes through, guys. You guys need to understand that. I'm sure everyone has a way of getting stuff. We all have a way of getting stuff. But, I mean, when you do your order, you got to order nicotine. You got to order flavors. You got to order VG, PG, and that stuff may be starting. Well, I mean, how would they go about that? Making you get a license?
So
as a realtor or a retailer?
So here's the reality. what they're doing here in New York right now is companies just aren't shipping. Even though we technically don't have the online ban until July 1st, companies are not shipping. There's even some concentrate and nicotine companies that will not ship to New York.
Well, they appear, yeah, they won't. They just, yeah, that's
once they hear a state is doing a flavor ban, they just write that state off.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that. Is that also applying to flavors? I mean, oh wow, how about if you're a legitimate? Oh God, I don't even want to go there. Like, say you're a bakery. Fucking.
All this is it's really bad written legislation, which will get dueled out in court eventually. You know, you're going to have like a flavoring company that makes soda or makes, you know, candy or something be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, how am I supposed to get my? I mean, yeah, I want to bring up the bill actually here. Let me see if I can prop this up here and we can kind of go through it a little bit here. Let me share screen here.
I mean, it almost looks like a copy of every other flavor ban that I've seen, either on a local level or on a state level.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how much similar this bill was to your guys's. I mean, they even added vending machines. I had not ever seen a e-juice vending machine. Have any of you guys seen an e-juice vending machine?
No. So what they're doing when they do the vending machines is they're using old language. You know, back when you could buy cigarettes in vending machines.
Okay.
They are literally just taking everything that they have learned over the years and trying to throw it all in one bill. And that seems to be, you know, pretty universal, not just for California, not just for New York. It really seems to be anywhere that's doing a flavor ban. They just take all the old language, everything that they did with the Tobacco Control Act, everything they did with, you know, the MSA agreement, you know, and they're just combining everything.
Yeah. Because I was just kind of going through it, and they were like, "Where is it here? It is who violates this section is guilty of infractions and shall be punished by a fine of $250 for each violation in this section." So that could add up. I mean, you could sales or sold means of sales defined in section 3. I mean, this is insane. Even the common person even understand half the shit that's on here.
Well, the common person's not going to.
No.
That's the thing. They're not going to understand it. And it's not written for them.
Nope.
We're past the okay, right there where it says the people of the state of California.
Yeah.
We're past that. We're past the people. This is about what's going on behind the scenes. This is what's going on with political agenda. This is what's going on with state agendas. This is what's going on with special interest groups. This is something that has moved so far past the people's, you know, even care that they don't, you know, and it'd be really interesting to see how this goes.
Yeah,
given the climate of everything that's happening right now with COVID-19.
Yeah, this is back. I guess it's back into vote again on June. Sometime in June. They said. I'm trying to remember where I saw.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to throw into the equation that they probably ramped this all up too because of all the kind of BS reports that were out there that people vaping and that the secondhand vape, you know, was a catalyst to potentially causing transmission of the virus. So they're looking at that component. I mean, anything you can do to make vapor, you know, they're going after all the components to try to shut the whole thing down, which, you know, and it's California.
And that's the thing. I mean, so many manufacturers out here, and especially down south. I mean, those guys they're going to stay in business, but they ain't going to be they're not going to be able to sell to their own people in their own state. Yeah. I mean,
well, that's what we're at right now. You know, you can sell out of state. They're not going to be able to stop that with interstate commerce.
No.
But they can definitely try to control what happens in
In
their
the,
state.
that's insane. Yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, I don't know. It just kind of shocked me when I saw the way this was written out, and just there was, they snuck it in there. They did the same thing Cuomo did, and they're doing the same exact thing. And there's no way for any of us to do anything about it. And it kind of just, well, it makes me feel like you guys felt last week, pissed off.
Well, I mean, there's plenty that you can do right now, but no one's going to fucking do it. That's gonna be the issue, and that's always the issue. Because right now, if every vapor in California fucking called and went, "What the fuck?"
Yes,
they would think twice about this, especially considering, the COVID situation. A lot of people are out of work. There's not a lot of income going through right now. So now you're going to take an industry, and you guys are taxed and licensed in California.
yes.
You have to have a license to manufacture in California. You have to have a license to distribute in California. You have to have a license to retail in California. You have to have a license from the retailer to the distributor. I mean, there's licenses everywhere. So they're making so much income from that. Yep. And they're going to throw it all away. New York made over $1 billion in 1 year from taxes. And they threw that all away. So I'm going over this bill. They're using very vague terms trying to give definition to. The flavored tobacco product means any tobacco product that contains a consistent that imparts a characterizing flavor. No. Because consistent means any ingredient, substance, chemical, or compound other than tobacco. So first off, most of the nicotine that's out right now is not even actual tobacco. It's synthetic nicotine.
Right.
Let's see here. We consider tobacco sheet is added by the manufacturer tobacco product during the process of packing the tobacco. So again, they're using old terminology. They're using, combustible tobacco terminology and not looking at what vaping actually is. Because as we all know, tobacco flavor, which the key word in that sentence is flavor, a tobacco flavor uses multiple other flavors to make that tobacco flavor. Even you take well,
a lot of them have a lot of nuts in them, you
have nuts, you have vanillas, you have brown sugar, you have caramel, you have syrup, you have a thing called smooth. There's so many different concentrates that go into making a tobacco flavor, because if we had
straight
I mean, realistically, you could take tobacco, suspend it in PG, and then remove the tobacco, and you would have tobacco flavor, but no one would buy that. No. I mean, not even tobacco users would buy that. It's just, It would be disgusting.
It would be disgusting. I don't think there's even a company out there that has a straight tobacco.
Well,
note maybe.
No, well, that's the problem. You can't say straight tobacco.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
because again, making a tobacco flavor requires other flavoring components to make that taste like tobacco.
Yeah.
But if you take, let's go for a good example. Let's go for American Patriot from Naked, right? It's just it's a flat out tobacco.
Yeah, it's a good one too.
But I guarantee, even though I don't know the recipe for it, I guarantee that there are other flavors besides tobacco in there.
I don't think I've ever tasted one that didn't have some sort of nut flavor to it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe I've had a Chinese flavor back in 2008, 2009, maybe. But it tasted horrible. It tasted like burnt tobacco, if anything.
They probably tried to enhance the taste of the smoke into it. They probably did.
And then there was another interesting thing I saw. Let me see here. Tobacco retailer.
Yeah, the 9 and 10 are the new amendments to it, and I see like on 10 they took out a person and put tobacco realtor. I don't know what makes the difference. Is that
so? That was probably done because if you put a person, then you have a potential for consumers. They would go after the consumers for having flavored products.
Yeah, see, I mean, that would mean who violates sections is guilty. So if they take a person out and just put tobacco realtor or agent or employee of a tobacco realtor. So if I want to sell Tim a bottle of juice and we both live next door to each other, I couldn't get in trouble.
Right. Well, technically, if you're already doing that in the state of California without a license, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble. Yeah.
That's why you just throw it over and hope it lands in his pool.
Yeah, I'll just throw it over the fence.
But there's where was the
And they changed up top there. It says this bill will prohibit a tobacco, and they took realtor out. Or no, they re-added it in there. I don't know what retailer. I don't
or
know.
any tobacco retailer's agent or employees from selling.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing is.
Yeah, people need to also understand that each time this goes through another session, it's going to constantly be changed. What you see now may not be what if this does pass, gets to the governor's desk, because each time it goes through a section, they make some changes to it. So in this next vote, they may add some more things to this. Who knows? I mean, like they said, they have you've said it, and I've heard many other people say it, but they have learned from their mistakes from listening to us. And now they know exactly what to do and how to do it and how to set it up, because we made it easier for them because
damn us and our big mouths.
Oh, here we go. This is very interesting. A tobacco product shall not be determined to have a characterizing flavor solely because of the use of additives or flavorings or the provision of the ingredient information. Rather, it is the presence of a distinguishable taste or aroma or both, as described in the first sentence of this definition, that constitutes a characterizing flavor. And the first sentence is characterizing flavor means a distinguishable taste or aroma or both other than the taste or aroma of tobacco imparted by tobacco product or any byproduct produced by a tobacco product. What the actual fuck? They basically just said it doesn't matter if there's other flavorings inside the tobacco flavor. Fucking hell.
Yeah, I mean they that's what I'm saying. And they're not messing around. And I don't see I'm not going to say I don't see the fight back, but I'm sure there is some in the background, but it's just hard. I mean, you guys went through it. You guys weren't able to do nothing. You couldn't even go to the courthouse. I mean, same here. They just started arresting people who were protesting out in front of the Capitol here in Sacramento last week. That were protesting out there, and they were trying to get inside the Capitol, and they arrested them. So, I mean, okay, I'm happy that they're showing up to do their job, but yet, they're part of their job is representing us, the people, and we can't be there to represent, or fight back. It's just ridiculous. This whole session should be everything should be put on hold. If everything else is shut down, then they should be shut down from passing bills. And, I get what Como did, and he was sneaky because he knew it was a budget and he knew that budget needed to get through. So he just put it part of the budget. And
No. The budget didn't need to get through.
I thought he
wanted it through.
He wanted, okay.
If it didn't go through when it was supposed to, there would be no raises.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, you can't say we're going to shut the city, we're going to shut the state down, because guess what? The state's already fucking shut down.
Yeah.
I mean,
I hate to admit it, but from the sneaky, underhanded, dirty side of it, that this is a great time for them to pass all sorts of crap because nobody can show up to oppose it.
Nobody can show up at all. I mean, here, like I said, I'm sure they're doing the same thing. If you guys would have showed up to Capitol there in New York, they would have been arresting you guys. You know, it's just
but there's got to be, well, I mean, whether or not it all ends up falling on deaf ears like it does most of the time anyway. But even if the policy or the procedure is that the public was entitled to at least a presentation or a hearing, in the event that, we can't just go to the Capitol building, we can't just go into these facilities that are theoretically closed to the general public because of the pandemic, how can they pass legislation that doesn't follow they can't say, oh, we had a hearing and no one showed up.
Yeah.
Because no one can show up. We're not theoretically allowed to show up. So there's got to be some kind of an argument that can be made for the fact that this legislation can't pass until we have that opportunity, to have the voice heard.
Yeah.
Well, so the problem with that's going to be that they're going to base it off of basically saying, oh, well, this is the same bill we heard last year. And they said their opposition last year.
But that is also the same bill that failed last year. Oops, my camera.
I didn't say it was right. I just said they're sneaky sons of bitches, and that's probably what they would do.
Yeah.
They are sneaky sons of bitches.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping it happens before it gets to the governor, because I know I don't know which way he would go. I really don't. He's been kind of here and there, and it's just, I can't figure him out. Nobody can figure Newsom out here in California. So he likes to hand out money, and money the state doesn't have. So I just don't know where he would do if that bill actually were to make it to his desk, if he would veto it or pull it through. I have no idea. But, you also got to keep in mind, $9 billion is a lot of money. And that's what he got last year. $9 billion compared to whatever vaping is drawing into the state of California through businesses and vape shops and manufacturers and hardware companies. I don't think it equals $9 billion.
Yeah, but doesn't this really all just come down to one singular point? And that is that it does, all this is, we could talk about the fight all we want and how, what they're doing, but really it's about lack of control. So this is their control. Take it away because we can't control it. We have no way of properly taxing it or regulating it from a state level.
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with that. Because if they wanted control, they would have it.
Yeah.
I mean, if they wanted to fix the problem, they would fix it. If they wanted to, shut down the companies that sell underage, they would. If they wanted to, do something to deter teen use, they would. The reality is they don't. They
don't.
Want the excuse to get rid of vaping. They want to do it in the guise of we're protecting the youth. And they're going to go at it from every direction because it all comes down to money. It all comes down to power. You have the special interest groups. You have the health groups that rely on money from MSA. They rely on, the state relies on the money that they get for tobacco prevention. And they don't use it for tobacco prevention. It goes into the general funding.
Yep.
So...
And the programs for anti-smoking, which are their little buddies and friends, PAVE and all those other ones get money from there. Am I right?
Yeah. So Lindsay Stroud did. Let me see if I can pull this up.
Let me ask you something, Matthew, or maybe you can. What is the difference between all these states fighting New York, California, Michigan, and Philadelphia? What's the difference? What happened in Philadelphia that made them say, that's what I want to know? was what was different in Philadelphia for them to say, okay, we see they see the future. They're looking at it and they're saying, hey, okay, let's just tax this and leave them the fuck alone.
I would love to know what
Right. What was different? That's what I want to know. What was it? Just who represents that state, the people? Something clicked in Philadelphia that's not clicking anywhere else, because I don't hear Philadelphia's even. I don't hear. I'm from Philly, so I talk to a lot of people in Philly, but I don't hear them bitching about paying the extra money for the fucking Jews. I don't hear them bitching about it.
I would love to know what the difference was, because it seems like, yeah, you get the tax, but
they're happy.
Yeah,
they don't have none of this bullshit. The businesses are staying open. Vape shops are, I don't know how many vape shops, I have no clue, that are in Philadelphia that are struggling now probably struggling, but I don't know how many were struggling after this so-called, after this, milliliter tax went through. I mean, I'm sure it affected some of the shops, but their businesses are still open. Nobody's going after, companies and e-juice and kids. And you don't hear any of that from Philadelphia. You don't hear about underage vaping there. You don't hear about,
People in Philadelphia know how to shut up.
Yeah.
But isn't it sort of funny how all that conversation kind of stopped anyway? Like,
Yep.
I get that the pandemic thing is the first thing on the news anymore, but I mean, it's like you don't even in the news, like I don't even see any more sub articles about the issues with the people, ending up in the hospital on ventilators because of vaping. You don't hear you don't see the rampant articles. I mean, the media's sort of dropped it for a bigger story, but I mean, doesn't mean that, if it was still an important topic for the media to report on, they would bring it up. I mean, the only time it really came back up in the last 3.5 months was around the reports that vapors were making themselves more susceptible to contracting the virus by being a vapor. And then there was contrasting articles that were coming out saying that they had studies saying that people who smoke were less likely to catch the virus. I mean, it kind of makes you start thinking, not that I'm a conspiracy theorist, but it's like, why would you say that about vaping, but then say that smokers are safer? It's like, let's just plant a seed to make smoking safer than vaping.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Maybe they were watching us and they realized that vapors love to share their stuff. It's like, here, taste this flavor. And they just said,
you know what? I think, as much as I want to believe that this doesn't exist from time to time, but I think they got little minions and pawns and spies that are listening to the conversation going on in the vaping community. And, we're all over the internet and on, these live streams and in commentary and groups. Anybody can get in a group practically anymore. And then we're like, oh, it doesn't matter if they ban flavors. We'll just DIY. Then they hear that. And they're like, well, we got to ban that too, because if they're going to do that, they're just getting past the process anyway. And then just wait till the day where they start taking like flavored things off the shelf in grocery stores.
Yeah.
They had heard that certain kinds of, flavorings from grocery stores in the aisle that people can easily buy, could get that. So, I mean, they're listening, you know what I mean? They're watching what the conversations are. They're trying to figure, people are trying to subvert what the vaping community is trying to do to sort of deal with it. So when they hear they got somebody with a little notepad or on their computer going, oh, that's what they said in the group. They said, it doesn't matter. They'll just go ahead and they'll just do it this way.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to plug all the holes to prevent people from doing it any other way. It's not about a vape shop or an online store anymore. It's about components. Yeah,
that's what I tried to do on my own personal page. I didn't want my friends to see it as it's a vaping issue. I wanted to take it to the next level and let people realize this is beyond vaping. They're literally telling us what we can taste and what we can't taste anymore. That's what I want people to understand, like on my page, my friends. It's vaping today, but it could be some fucking crazy group will get together and say, hey, our kids are eating way too much fucking chocolate cake and it's causing obesity and diabetes in kids. So you know what? We need to get rid of chocolate cake. It sounds silly, but did we?
Hey, I dealt with Bloomberg trying to get rid of 2-liter bottle sodas in New York. I mean,
yeah, he was trying to kill the 44-ounce soda. You can't have a 44-ounce soda. But that's what I want people. That's why I kind of changed it on my page. I want people to realize that, okay, forget the vaping side of it. Just realize what they're doing here. They're taking a choice away from us because other people can't control their fucking kids. Okay, it's not mine, Matthew's, or Tim's, or anybody's responsibility what your kid does. It's your responsibility. If I understand times are different. I mean, I grew up with a $5 a week allowance. I mean, some of us, these kids today, they're getting $20, $30, $40 a week. So
shit, most of them are getting like fucking $20, $30 a day every time they ask.
Yeah, so it's just like, I know times have changed. Yeah. So to me, I want my friends on my page to realize, it's just like, hey, take your feelings away for whatever your concerns are for vaping. Take that away for right now and just realize what the government is doing right here. This isn't about tobacco, and this isn't about cigarettes. This isn't about any of that. This is about them taking your choice away from you because somebody else's parents can't control their fucking kids, or some shop is not taking I'll throw in shops because I'm not going to pretend like shops aren't selling to kids, but shops and convenience store owners don't give a shit about the fucking law, and they're going to do whatever there is to profit and sell a product in their store. But they're taking away our choice as an adult and saying, okay, we're sorry, but the Karens of the world are saying the obesity is just out of hand. Kids are eating too much. Let's just say Hostess cupcakes. I don't know.
Here's the reality. So I'm on thr101.org, which is an amazing website done by Lindsay Stroud, and she does a great job of getting all this information. So I'm on the California page. California spends very little on tobacco prevention. In 2019, California dedicated only $250.4 million on tobacco control, or, in other words, 8% of what the state received in tobacco settlement payments and taxes.
Yeah.
They used 8% of what they received.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, we can say that it's that. We could say that it's about this or that or whatever. At the end of the day, it's about money. Money is the root of all evil. Money is what this, and we're not talking a little bit of money. If you think about this, $250.4 million is 8% of what they received in 2019.
Yeah. Yep.
All that other money is just sitting somewhere.
Yep.
So,
where? I want to know where that $9 billion went. When he comes out last 6 months ago and says the state is $7 billion in debt, where did the fucking $9 billion go? You got $9 billion from tobacco, and now you're telling the people of California that the state budget is $7 billion in debt. I'm like thinking to myself, how did how's that fucking happen?
Well, you got to think it's what states have been doing are they're trying to rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yep.
And the problem when you do that, if anyone's ever been in this situation, they'll know.
Mm-hmm.
You never catch up.
Nope.
You're always in debt to somebody else because you're taking money from this person to pay this person. Now you have to pay this person, so you take money from another person to pay this. You're never caught up.
Yeah.
You're always going to be in debt.
Yep.
And when you have policies, that just spend, that money's got to come from somewhere.
Yep.
So if you take the money that you're supposed to use for something else to pay this, you still need money to pay for the thing that you took the money from to begin with.
Yeah. And too, for a fact, there's a couple states that didn't use any of that money. They saved, Massachusetts is one of them. They used none. They haven't used any of that money for what it was supposed to go to for the last 2 years. Zero. And I mean, I don't know what they're getting a year, but I'm sure it's in the millions. I'm sure they're getting a few million a year in the state of Massachusetts. And the CDC, isn't it the CDC that tells them how much they are to allocate towards prevention, health, and tobacco? Isn't it the CDC that does that? Is part of that?
I'm not 100% sure on that off the top of my head.
I think it's the CDC that allocates the amount of money that each state is supposed to allocate towards harm reduction.
Well, there's a minimum.
Yeah.
And a lot of states are doing below the minimum.
Wait.
I mean, speaking of Massachusetts, people watched on a live video stream of what they were doing during the flavor ban for Massachusetts, where there was a representative that said, okay, you want to get rid of flavors, then I'm asking for 10% of the money from the MSA payments to be used for nicotine cessation products for the people that are going to be out from this.
Oh, good.
And they said, no, that's what insurance is for.
Yeah.
So you're not using the money that you're getting the way that you're supposed to.
Yeah, that list goes on. We've done that before, I think, right? Tom and Tim on a live. We kind of broke down each state and how much they were supposed to spend and
how much they actually spent.
Yeah, every state, I think there was a few states that like, I forget what was number one, but they were actually using the money. It wasn't very many of them, but there's maybe 3 or 4 of them that are actually using what was allocated for harm reduction.
Right, and those states, you're not seeing issues with flavor bans. You may see slight taxes, but you're not seeing flavor bans.
I think that one of the states was yours, Brian, that actually uses the money properly. In North Dakota, I think it was North Dakota that was one of the states or South Dakota, one of those 2 Dakotas.
Well, that's because there's like 30 people in the state. They just yell out the window, "Hey, knock that shit off."
Yeah, they were actually using the money for what it's supposed to be used for.
Yeah, I think the entire population of one of the Dakotas is
50 people.
less than the entire population of Long Island.
Yeah, we were just talking about that the one time we were chit-chatting. We do actually, North Dakota does actually use the money where they say. I mean, granted, most politicians don't go on their word per se. They usually say something and then do something else.
Is, that's Jesus Christ, you have 762,000 people in North Dakota?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm done.
We were talking about that with the square milers thing. New York per square mile is like 26,000 people per square mile, and we are 11.
11. That's crazy, man.
It's less than the deer in North Dakota.
I'm done.
Yeah.
There's more deer per square mile.
There's more Canadian moose that come in to Dakota than there are.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Let's see. What was OTR's question? Yeah, but what lobbyist is going to take vape money when they can take tobacco money, which is
right. Big pharma money, which is way better.
Okay, so he's got a fair point.
Yeah, he does have a fair point, but
yes, we could absolutely do that. But the issue that's always stood constant is there's too much fighting between everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Me and Matthew were talking about that a while back too. There's if we could all get on the same page, we could exactly do this. Yes, I totally agree with that.
I don't even think we could. And all right, so here's my reasoning for it.
That's a big if, though. I did say if.
He corrected himself, though. You didn't see the part where he changed it from could to could not.
Yeah.
Well, so all right, say we even have all the advocacy groups on the same page. What you have, though, with the vape industry is no unified movement. And I'm not talking advocacy. I'm talking price structure. I'm talking agreement that every company is going to pay X amount to a lobbyist. We don't have that. So, and not only that, the industry, because it was created by consumers, is still very inexperienced. Well, this industry is in its infancy. We are not we're not apt to deal with political situations. I mean, many of us are learning this as we go. So you look at states like I'm going to use North Carolina for an example, because my brother Sherwin has an amazing state advocacy group in North Carolina, and their lobbyist is absolutely like a bull shark in a fucking feeding frenzy when he needs to be. But you look at, states like North Carolina that have gone toe to toe with big tobacco, and North Carolina is a tobacco state. Yeah. So you have states that go toe to toe with big tobacco in their own state and come out on top. But then Tennessee, you look at states that Tennessee also, DIMI with Tennessee Smoke Free Association, they do a fantastic job and their lobbyist is on point. But then you look at other places, they're not apt to deal in that situation, because there's no money. Again, money. The industry, if it pulled all its resources, maybe could get the right lobbyist and get stuff done. But the problem is with this industry is we're too involved. Yeah. You look at the tobacco, big tobacco, Philip Morris.
I think it for the e-juice distributor or say e-juice company, do you think it has to do with the passion part of it though? Is it like, I know this is what, like they were talking about last night, they're passionate about taking care of the 50 milligram guy, and this guy's is happy taking care of the 3 mil guy. You think that's what's going on here as well?
I think it's inexperience. Honestly, I think it's inexperience because you have a lot of companies that are first-time business owners.
Young too, young,
very, very young. I mean, we look back 4 or 5 years ago, and the cost to start a business was minuscule. If you had the right branding, you had something that passes off as a decent flavor, and you had the marketing, you were a millionaire within a month. And a lot of people just
I heard it was only 10 grand. I heard it was like 10 grand to get started.
Yeah. It's about 10 grand to get it going.
Back then, yeah. And you were going to be rolling in it.
Yeah, you go to 1 or 2 expos, you get it in the right hands, and it's done. You're gone. But you don't have the political experience. You don't have the business experience. You're too busy buying Lambos and fucking Rolexes and,
the house
going to fucking strip clubs every damn night. You're not putting money away for lobbyists. You're not
financial literacy.
What's that?
That becomes a issue then of, instead of reinvesting your money that you made from your business back into your business, and being stupid.
Yeah.
Well, with first-time business owners, the issue is, I've got money now, how can I spend it? Versus I've got money versus how can I invest it?
Right.
There's actually a big difference there.
You also have to understand a lot of the people in the industry, they come from very dark pasts. They come from addiction. They come from dealing. They come from being convicts. I mean, this industry was built by consumers, and the outlaws and the outcasts are the ones that blew it up. So you're not going to have someone who's a 2-time ex-felon who turned their life around go, the first thing I need to do is get a lobbyist and work with a state group
Yeah.
No, they're going to go, okay, how can I keep growing my business but not deal with the protection of my business?
Yeah.
You know, it's the age-old question. Would you rather make $100,000 in 1 month, or would you rather make $10,000 every month for the rest of your life?
Mhm.
A lot
do
of
you
people
think
are going to take that $100,000 and just call it quits.
Well, do you think that mindset though, like that you were talking about, like the ex felons and stuff like that, who people who have had the dark past, who have dealt with things like maybe not inappropriately, but maybe have tried to take a different way versus of trying to do things and still trying to make it work? Do you think that mindset is actually something that has really hindered
That's a good
business
point.
owners?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, I think.
Like the whole like me aspect.
Yeah, because those guys are going to be the guys that are going to be saying "fuck you." I can.
They're also still trying to scheme and all that stuff, trying to
I
get ahead.
can't say that 100% because I know some of the big companies. I know some of the big companies. I won't say anything by name, but I know some of the big companies that do a lot for advocacy.
Yeah.
Have people of that background, but you have a lot of the smaller ones that still make decent amount of money that just want nothing to do with it. You have a lot of first-time shop owners that don't see a benefit of joining a state group. They don't feel like they need to be part of a state group. And, that's fine. You don't want to be a part of a state group? Fine. However, when every shop in the state feels that way, besides like 10, you have a very weak state group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I'm not saying like all of them. I'm just saying like some. Even that some can ruin it for a lot, and that's kind of the way laws are. Is like those some people have ruined it for most people, type thing. Don't get me wrong. I've met people who have been addicts who have really turned their lives around, who because of the industry and made themselves better people. Absolutely, yes, I've met those people.
I know tons of them, just from my last 9 years of taking pictures, dealing with companies, and I've heard their stories, and man, nothing makes me feel more prouder of them than hearing, this is what helped me, and having a product that taken them away from what they have been dealing with. They're probably most of them that I know, majority of their lives, and have been, this is the product that's worked. It's not just smokers. I think people need to realize that it's not people with anxiety, people that have drug addictions. I mean, it goes on and on and on, man.
I mean, the vape industry itself is kind of like a big support group. Whether you like it or not, that is kind of what it is. It's a big meeting place. It's really
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
That's what keeps the Sample Box page going. Just the stories and people helping each other. Every day I go on there, I hear a new story. I'm 3 weeks in. I'm on edge, and it's like instant. It's instant. People are on there commenting, "Hey, go try this. Maybe bump up your nick a little bit. Go to the vape shop and get an 18." Little things, and we all help each other. And I'm sure all of you have been part of some sort of other groups. I've never seen this. I've never seen this in my entire life in any other group that I've ever been associated with. I mean, the quickness to help, and
the only thing closest that I've ever experienced is was the underground like hardcore punk scene in Washington D.C. But then again, those were also the first people who would fuck you up in a back alley if you said something the wrong way. So they'll be your best friend, but they'll kick the shit out of you too.
Was that in that era where you had the old picture that we saw a long time ago with the ICP necklace on that you had and whatnot?
No, that was even before then.
Okay, gotcha.
There was actually a punk scene in Washington D.C.
No, there was a huge punk scene in Washington D.C.
Oh yeah, I grew up in the punk scene. In the right around the time we had the mods and the oh god, I can't think of the other name. But anyway, we used to go to hardcore shows every weekend. There's just and squatters in DC constantly living down in Georgetown.
Yep.
Just
Yeah, see, we never got any of that stuff up here. I mean,
you
got our 11 people per square mile can test to that.
But like I said last night though, on the this on Smoke Free show with Dimmy and Phil, someone called in and said, they used to vape, they went back to smoking, they're starting to vape again, and they're not off completely, but they're making a pack of cigarettes last them like a week and change. And I said, hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Don't ever look at it as you haven't quit smoking yet. Look at it as every cigarette not smoked is the victory. And if you keep going, you're going to be able to quit eventually. And there was a study done by the New England Journal of Medicine showing that along with support, vaping was 2 times more effective than traditional NRTs. And what is the support? The support is the community. The support is the shops. The support is going on groups and talking with people that you will not find when you are using patches, gums, lozenges, fucking Chantix. I mean, you might find support groups of Chantix survivors, but you're not going to find the people that went through or are going through the same thing. And, oh, try this. This worked for me. It might work for you. Or people saying, oh, how long have you been doing it? Oh, I tell people I've been smoke-free for 5 years. They look at me and they're like, I've only been smoke-free for like a couple of months. I said, hey, that's fucking awesome. Keep at it. Like every single time that you don't smoke, you're bettering your life.
Yep.
And we don't have that in any other industry. We don't have that we don't have that support anywhere. We're sure as fuck not getting it from the government. We're not getting it from the health groups. We're not getting it from our own doctors half the time. If by chance you're lucky enough to find a doctor that supports vaping, or at least supports you vaping, then that's good, but you're not getting it anywhere else. And especially talking with people who have, spouses that may not have been smokers or continue to smoke, they don't get it. They're not on that same, wavelength that you're on when you're talking to, your friends on Facebook or whatever about, being happy that you finally quit smoking, or even something happening in the industry politically where you're very upset. They're going to understand that you're upset, but they don't get it because they're not going through it. I mean, you talk to enough people, they understand what you're going through. I talk to people like, if I'm talking to someone from Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Jersey, we're now on the same page because we're all banned for flavors. Yeah. If I talk to someone in like
me, for example,
you're not in that same situation, so I can't be like, you could be like, oh yeah, man, that sucks. It's not fair, but you don't have to worry about that right now.
Yeah,
right.
So we're unless you find people of that same mental understanding, you don't find that support anywhere else.
Yeah,
I start going off on a tangent. I want to bring it right back to that.
Well, what I said kind of at the beginning there about the whole like helping people quit and even quitting with vaping, we're all okay with that. We all like are for that, absolutely. The counter argument to that from any congressmen or women or anybody in that stature says that, well, if you're willing to help them quit, then why does it matter if we ban stuff? Because you still have the ability to help them quit. I mean, it's a fair thing to say, but it's still in the wrong.
What? How does that make any sense? Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not finished, but it's a fair thing for them to say that because of what we just said. But if you're taking away all of our tools to give to them to help them quit, cigarettes, or even quit vaping if they want to, that's up to them.
Well, you take away flavors, you take away the
That's
single
the
most important tool.
Yes, that's the tools. That's kind of what I'm saying. Is that I can understand that why the counter argument is the way it is, way they say it, but they're looking at it at the wrong way. They're thinking that if we help people to quit, then why does it matter if we take stuff away, because they're still going to quit anyways. That's not the point, though. You know what I mean?
Their counter arguments are cop outs.
Right.
That's all they're not even counter arguments. They're cop outs. It's their justification of what they're doing.
Right. Yeah, it's fair
because
fair
what
for
they
them to
know
say
what
that.
they're doing is wrong. That's why they have the cop outs.
Yeah. It's in their mindset. That's why they think it's fair for them to say that. You know what I mean? Like I understand why they're trying to say that argument, but at the same time they're not understanding what the industry is and how it is and why we do the things we do.
Like when I was arguing with one of the representatives in New York, I went up to Albany and I was talking to them, and to this day it still gives me shivers and baffles my brain that this was said when they were talking about, okay, so what's going to happen if we do a flavor ban? And I said, well, it's very simple. You're going to have people who are going to A, go back to smoking, B, they're going to find ways of getting the products from out of state, C, you're going to have people trying to mix their own stuff, mixing with nicotine, with chemicals that they don't understand how they work.
Yep.
And people are going to get sick and they're going to die. And the representative looked at me and she said, yeah, we know. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah. It's their attitude. Yeah.
I remember that post.
Yeah, that is the way they think. We'll deal with it when it comes up. When it comes up,
But it's not the now. It's not now though. Is what their whole focus is on.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of people on our page discuss. When all this started, a lot of people were like, "Okay, I want to get into DIY and blah blah blah," and to me, it's just like, okay, you guys, for one, I don't know anything about it, so I tried to find somebody that knows about it, and trying to let them understand that you just don't do this in your kitchen. You know what I mean? You need to have a clean room. You need to make sure you got the right chemicals. You need to make sure there's a lot that goes into it. Do you have children at home? Make sure you don't. I mean, it's
well, if you're making it for yourself, then you can make it in whatever condition you're comfortable with. That's fine. I have no issue with that. If you start selling it to people or giving it away to people, that's when I have an issue with it.
Yeah, and that's going to happen. Go ahead, Tom.
I had a friend last night ask me to put a build in one of her RDAs for her, which we can talk about that later. But she asked me why I never got into DIY. And I flat out said, because I don't have a clean enough, a sanitary enough area in my house to do it.
Yeah. My hands are not clean enough, long enough during the day to mix these chemicals that I want to put in my fucking lawn.
Yeah.
Oh, we've already gone through the whole era of the whole, like, quote unquote, mixing areas and whatnot. And,
Yeah. But it's just like Matt's saying, it's when you start giving that stuff away or you start selling it to other people and then those people get sick or something happens to those people, that's when it's just a bad look at us as industry. It's just like,
all right, because because the people that are less educated or didn't realize that we got to this point before it hit them in the face, and then they start having some friends who are DIYing, and their friends like, oh yeah, no, I just make my own. And then they start getting it from them. And then you end up with a liability when something goes wrong. I mean, 6 times things might be fine, but for 4 people, you screw them up for life. And then that's when
you're not going to have liability when it's illegal. I mean, that's kind of the thing. You can't turn around to someone and be like, oh, you sold me a bag of Coke that had fentanyl in it. Like, it doesn't work that way.
I'll prove it in court.
Right. I'm going to kill you.
You're both going to get locked up. One for trying to buy illegal product and one for selling illegal product. What you're going to have is you're going to have people take advantage of the situation, and that's what I am mainly concerned about.
Well, and we've already had that in the industry though too, many times over.
Yeah.
Many
Look at the
no names.
the budget e-liquid that people were making. Like, you can buy a 500 ml bottle for $10.
Yeah, that right there should just tell you all you need to know about how sketchy that is.
Yeah.
First off, I've made e-liquid, not in a lab, but for my own personal use.
I have to.
And let me tell you, in order to make 500 mils of e-liquid, the concentrates, the PG, the VG, the nicotine alone cost more than $10.
Yeah,
So
those
if you
were
dilute it more though, you can probably stretch it out. But
those were big. Like,
Oh yeah, throw some vitamin E acetate in your old.
about 4 years ago, a lot of vape groups, man, had guys on there. I could sell you, 225 mils of, for $8. I'm just like, no, I'm good.
I'm good.
Good, dude. And it was, and they were putting them in elaborate bottles. You remember that? They were putting whiskey bottles. They were putting them in like trying to market their crap, dude.
We
I
shut down
really
a
like
lot of
vegan.
those.
Yeah. It's
We shut down a lot of those.
Yeah, in a tequila bottle. It's like, I could give you whatever a bottle of tequila is. I don't know.
750 milliliters.
A liter of fucking juice in a tequila bottle.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've made a gallon of e-liquid for a friend and went on Amazon and bought a growler and poured it in a growler. I mean, we're talking a full-on gallon-sized growler.
That's awesome.
I made him that, and but that alone cost me about.
Yeah, the growler alone was $20.
Yeah, the growler was fucking $20. But no, the to make 1,000 mils cost me probably close to about $150.
Yeah.
So this whole 250 mils, 500 mils for $10.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I know a lot of people passed on those, but there were some
there was a lot of people that did, and they wondered why they weren't getting their product.
Yeah, that too. Because I remember, when was it? Who's the first state? There was one. Who was the first state to do it? It was
Washington.
No. We're talking now, maybe 5-6 years ago. Was it
the first state
to ban sales of e-juice into their state?
I thought that was Washington because people had to move to Arizona for that.
No, Indiana. No, so the thing with Indiana though.
Yeah, Indiana.
Okay.
The Indiana thing was it wasn't illegal to sell to Indiana. You had to have a license to sell to Indiana.
Yeah,
and I mean that was the whole Mike Pence situation.
Yeah,
because Mike Pence owned the fucking security company that was in charge of licensing all these places.
Yeah, because that's when
Indiana's still like that. You need to have a license to sell to Indiana.
Yeah, because Example Box, I think that's one of the only. There's a couple states that they cannot ship to, and I think that's one. And Utah. I don't know what's going on in Utah, but Utah is one of the other states I think also that
the Mormons
they can't purchase a Example Box. Utah, Indiana.
Well, Utah you can ship out of, not into.
Yeah, you can't ship into. That's it. Yeah, that's weird.
Not really, because that's the same way. Like, so a state can control what they want in their state. They can't control what goes out of their state. That was one of the main things when what was it? When Giant Vapes, was having issues shipping for a while because the state shut down completely all vapor product. You could not sell vapor products.
Yeah.
And then they eventually opened it that you could sell out of the state, which made no sense at the time because their concern was public safety. So you're saying that you can sell potential dangerous stuff out of the state, but you don't want it sold within the state.
You know,
But the residents of your state can't have it.
it's okay to kill everybody else, just not anybody in our state.
And when people argue well, you can't do that because of interstate commerce, I go, okay, I'm in New York right now. I try to look up a butterfly knife or brass knuckles or my personal favorite, sap gear. I can't buy that in New York State.
Right.
But if I have a friend in Pennsylvania who orders it,
Yeah,
they'll ship to Pennsylvania, and then Pennsylvania ships to me.
yeah, that's insane.
And that's one of the biggest loopholes. What you're going to see. I saw someone today because right now it is not illegal for companies to ship to New York.
Right.
I need to make that very clear. You can ship to New York right now. You have until July 1st. July 1st is when the online sales ban goes into effect. But there's someone in New York who was trying to order e-liquid, and every place that they tried to order from, they got refunded and rejected.
Yeah, that's what's going on, huh? They already started. They just said, "Fuck it, we're just going to close it down."
Right.
Not
So what I told that person to do, I said, if you have any friends or family out of state, sure, it sucks because you're paying double shipping, but have it shipped to them, and then they privately ship it to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Because here's the trick. If it doesn't say vape, vapor, e-juice,
Yeah.
e-liquid, fucking smoke, anything like that on it, no one's going to be the wiser.
Yeah, I can't say element vape on it.
Yeah, no. If your company is the name Vape and you put that on your shipping,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, just get a priority mail bag and reship it. That's it.
Just slap on there fucking no, I'm even saying this for companies.
Yeah.
Because what companies are doing right now is they're losing a lot of money not shipping to New York.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, are they also, these companies, are they using they may have to do it a little bit. I don't know how they're doing it, but aren't most of them using the address from the credit card though? Or
But you can use it, but that's irrelevant.
Yeah, that's
A
true.
lot of places will do.
Just turn around and print out a separate shipping label with return to sender on it.
All you would have to really say gift. Just say it's a gift. I'm gifting fucking Matt something from Element Vape. That's it.
Well, you can't gift it.
Oh, you can't gift it, huh?
Federally, that's legal.
It'd be free then.
Yeah.
You can't do free products. But I mean, you've got companies who actually like make their own packing tape with their own logos on it, their own boxes with their own logos on it. That's kind of what he's saying, is that don't have it distinct. Don't put your
don't advertise your shipping.
Yeah, just
Plain
put it in a
brown
box, put a label on it, put it in the mail.
Or don't even put like
They could just put the guy's name that owns the company, Bob Jones. Doesn't have to be Element Vape, just Bob Jones and his fucking own address.
I mean, there's ways around it, but people don't want to do it. I mean, like, I have a box from let me just pull a random old box that I have. I don't know why it's still laying around.
Here's a box from Newegg.
I have a box from 5 Pawns.
Yeah.
5 Pawns can get away with it because 5 Pawns doesn't say vape on it.
Yeah.
But if it said 5 Pawns e-liquid,
yeah, that'd be different.
that would be all right. What are you shipping?
Yeah.
Don't list what the fuck company's on it. Just put your name. Don't.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be there. It could be on the inside of the box. It doesn't have to be on the receipt on the inside of the box. It doesn't need to be the label. It does not need, and like Tom is holding up, it doesn't need to be a box with your fucking name on it, like Newegg or Amazon.
That was the first box that was close enough for me to grab.
I mean, I don't think anybody has. I don't think I've ever bought anything that come from any of the vape shops that actually have their own box.
I see more tape than anything.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Well, especially if you're getting something from China.
You see companies doing that all the time. I don't know how many commercials I've seen on TV for, quote unquote, like sensitive, personal type things. And they say, we ship to you in discrete packaging and boxes.
Yeah, Adam.
I mean, it's not unheard of. So what everyone's saying is, why doesn't everybody just catch on to that? It's like,
A plain
You know,
brown
just
box is cheap.
Yeah, you don't. Your wife doesn't want the neighbors.
doesn't have to say anything dramatic. You know, it could say Arizona warehouse. It doesn't have to even say, you know, a vape company. That's what they're doing is when your depends show up, not mine, but when your depends show up in a box.
Now I know we're getting to John. I'm back up.
I mean, your wife doesn't want the mailman and your neighbors to know.
No,
She
I'm just saying it's done because the person on the end user knows what they're getting, but they don't want the person at the post office or UPS or whatever to look down and go, oh, you know, and bring them their box. So
yeah, Adam and Eve. That's the commercial. Adam and Eve.
Well, that's one of them, but I mean, there's other things like catheters and
I
sanitary.
mean, I'll put it this way: I was able to ship a barbed wire baseball bat from New York down to Florida.
Yeah, they I could see the guy's face when he scanned that box.
Well,
and
you
it
know
wasn't even made out of one box.
Yeah.
I custom made a box by taping and fucking pasting multiple flat rates cut open, rolled the bat in like 3 feet of fucking
bubble
wrap, and then put like fucking styrofoam wrapped around that, and then literally just cut and taped a fucking giant rectangle, slid the bat in it, and put, oh, it's a present. I don't want them to know it's from me, so I just want to put their address as the return address.
Yeah. Oh God.
Which kind of makes me really question USPS's security as far as what's being shipped. But
they have a severe lack of.
Yeah, but USPS and Amazon and all these large processing centers, even like UPS and FedEx, I mean, it's all about volume. I mean, they got to move. They're promising you all these really very short shipping times. The human touch factor in systems like that is very little. I mean, they have huge OCR systems and conveyor belt systems and, you know, lasers that read everything because they're just trying to move thousands of packs. So most of the time, the only people really touching your box is going to be the guy that probably picked it up at your door or took it out of the hamper, you know, at the store and dropped it off, and then they put it on a truck and they send it over to the processing centers, and from there on out, everything's robots and automation.
Which I'll guarantee, though, if there is a place that you can't ship stuff to, they'll put keywords in their fucking robots to detect it.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. I mean, no,
so if it's like, oh, can't have any vapor products shipped to New York. Beep. Oh, from Element Vape.
But that's what I mean, though. Is it's like even if you have the discrete box with the no name on it, you still don't even have that wandering set of eyes that's really sort of inspecting the box and shaking it and trying to figure out exactly what's in it beyond that label. I mean, they're just trying to move boxes at that point. So your combination of discrete box, discrete labeling, discrete stickering.
There was a guy carrying Matt's box around going, guys, come check out what the fuck's in this box.
Well, so it's actually funny because shortly after that,
you were put on
I was talking with a chick who worked at FedEx, and they got a rocket launcher.
Oh wow.
No.
I think that was in the news.
No.
There was a RPG inside of a Nike container box.
No. That don't go that way.
So apparently, like, they opened it, or it like made a large thud, and they like opened it, and there was a fucking RPG sitting there.
Of course, it was disarmed and set up to never fire, but that's okay.
Oh no! It was fully
functional.
It was fully functional.
That's not how that's supposed to. I don't know how they're sent out like that, but
and it got shipped somewhere from the Middle East, and it ended up in somewhere in Stony Brook, New York.
Yeah. I won't say his name because, whatever, they won't ban my video, but the Unabomber got away with it for a long fucking time, man. So you just imagine what he put in the mail and what's in the mail today. Fuck.
Right, but that was also like pre 9/11, though.
Yeah, he's probably one of the reasons we have a lot of the security procedures we do now. I'm just
there's cameras at fucking post offices.
yeah.
Well, I mean, we're seeing an issue with USPS right now. You're looking at fucking 12 days shipping.
Yeah,
Dude,
everything is just.
don't get me started on that. I'm waiting for one piece. One thing.
He's waiting for one piece to finish his computer, and it's taking forever.
And it's
My buddy ordered something, and it was supposed to, be like 3-4 days, and it ended up taking a random trip down south to Mississippi when it was supposed to be sent to Michigan.
They're close in the alphabet.
Yeah.
So it stayed there for like 4 days, and then it went to like somewhere Midwest, and then it went to Michigan.
Yeah, that's insane.
Michigan is in the Midwest, dude.
All right, we're gonna switch.
I'm on the East Coast, so Midwest to me is like the middle of the country.
The middle.
That is the Midwest.
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
That's where Michigan is.
North
There.
is not the Midwest.
Yes, it is.
It's the upper Canada.
Barely.
It's Midwest.
I'm just kidding. I want to get ahead, and we're going to go ahead and switch topics and talk about our second topic. It's about which gets talked about a lot in our lounge, which is people making the jump from sub-ohm tanks to RDAs and RTAs. Me and Brian talked about it.
Do it.
Do it.
And do it.
Do it now. It'll change your life forever.
You will save money.
I mean,
good. I didn't put this battery in upside down.
I mean, maybe 6-7 years ago, even maybe less than that, 5 years ago. No, well, let's go 6-7 years ago. Yeah, it might have been a little bit harder to make that jump because there wasn't a lot of pre-made coils out there. I mean, there was a few companies that were doing it.
No, people were using round wire and building like actual people. They weren't relying on pre-made coils.
No, they weren't relying, but we still had a lot of people that were on sub tanks in the Example Box group that were like, I want to make the jump, to making coils and going to an RDA, but I can't make coils. And back then, yeah, it might have been a little bit harder. Yeah, then you would have probably had to pay a good $20-$25 for a set of coils, but today it's different. Today's different.
Something Phil said last night really kind of stuck with me. And you bring up a good point there. People who couldn't make coils. Okay, let's talk about couldn't make coils. When I started making coils, those were the most ugly, inefficient, hot spotting, and we're talking with round wire. It looked like what happens when you pull cotton really fast out of a build. That's how they looked like when they were being installed.
Yeah.
Like a spring.
But guess what? You learned how.
Yeah.
You took the time. You made the mistakes. You fucking went through 3 rolls of wire before you got it right.
I had a garbage can just full of fucking wire.
So here's my issue with this. Stop being a bitch and learn how to build coils like the rest of us did.
Yeah.
It's really not that difficult to learn either. The tools you need are very basic, and I'm pretty sure they're in every house in the world.
Yeah.
Micro screwdriver kit,
a pair of clippers,
a pair of clippers, and a fucking
needle
and pliers.
And pliers. That's the kit of vapors right there. Every fucking vapor should have. I mean, if you don't own a vape kit, that's the kit you should own. You can get that at Home Depot. You can get that at Lowe's. You can get that at Ace Hardware.
When I was doing it, I had to actually search for shit to make my kit.
Yeah.
Now you can get nice little, pre-made kits that have everything.
Yeah, you can grab a vape kit. And what's nice about that little kit that Brian had in his hand, it's all labeled, guys. It's right on there. It tells you it's a 2mm screwdriver, a 3, 2.5, a 3. I don't think they go to 4 on those kits, but
And here's what also pissed me off. Brian,
My
how much
kit goes
was
for
that?
That kit's like $6.
Like $5.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what the kits were back in the day? Oh, that's not a full. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Ooh,
about.
ain't you fancy?
Tim's got a full-blown big kit there.
How much was that kit?
It says different.
Yeah.
The one he's got is probably around
$15.
Yeah.
$15. You know what that kit was fucking 5 years ago?
Way more than $15.
Yeah, it was $45 for that damn kit.
Yep.
Yeah. So guess what?
Hold on, I can't defend myself. I was podless. Say that again.
No, you don't need to defend yourself. You're good.
You're good. We were saying that
You were
kit
saying
was,
the fact that that's $15 now. It used to be $45.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're so cheap anymore, and that has everything in it that you could need for an RDA, all in one kit. You don't even have to worry about searching for different components or buying things ad hoc. You just buy that one kit. And I don't even use an ohm reader anymore. I have one, but I don't use one. Well, I'm not using MEX, so I'm not having to really measure
You're
my
using
own.
a regulated device that already has an ohm reader basically built into it.
There you go, right there.
And the ohm reader and the regulated devices nowadays, they're a lot more
accurate
and accurate
Yeah.
compared to what we used to use back in the day when
plastic fucking piece of crap. If you dropped it once, it would never fucking work again.
yeah, or you had to spend fucking $200 something and get a DNA device that only went up to 40 watts, but it was the most accurate ohm reader you could use.
Yeah, it was $99 for the chip and then $10 for the mod if it was a DNA product.
And actually, at that time, you had to buy it from Hannah.
Yeah,
And
I was just saying. I get
Exactly.
Matthew said it right. Like for the users out there who are already using regulated mods, you don't have to worry about getting a different mod to put your RDA on it. But beyond that, the point is that people get confused of which kit to buy. I'm like, you don't even need the one with the ohm reader in it. Just go get the cheapy one that has the tools. You don't need the ohm reader.
And here's something too. Don't worry about aliens. Don't worry about Fralians. Don't worry about framed, fused, stapled fucking Godzilla up your ass around the corner, fucking through your mouth coils.
Yeah.
I want to vape that. It's just
regular round wire works fine.
Perfect.
I tell people so.
I'm using right here.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I tell people when they are looking at their first RDA, what I tell people is that don't worry about the Claptons, the fused Claptons, all that stuff. What I want you to do is start building your own coil. I want you to start just one single coil, put it in there. I want you to wick it. I want you to try it, see how you like it. Move on to maybe like adding one in there and finding your sweet spot with a regulated device. That's what I want you to do. Once you get that down and building that correctly, then we can take the step up into those complicated coils.
Yep.
Then you'll notice a difference. But I don't want people to jump in and say, like, I want a fused Clapton that has the best flavor. And I'm like, well, it's hard for you to know what has the best flavor if you haven't tried all the other different
First
things.
off, if you're going from a sub-ohm tank to a fucking RDA, your flavor is going to be better right off Jump Street.
Absolutely. Yes.
100%.
I totally agree.
That's the one thing I hate when I see it in the comments, because it's like, okay, I'm vaping. Let's just say I'm vaping a Falcon, whatever coil, a sub-ohm tank. I want that same flavor in my RDA, and I just start like, okay. So you want better flavors, what you should be saying, because you're going to get better flavor than whatever you're getting from that fucking.
No, actually, I'm going to disagree with that. There are certain liquids that are better inside of tanks than they are dripped.
And
because you have too much heat, you have too much airflow, you have there's so many different variables.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there's a lot of science involved between going from a sub-ohm tank to an RDA. There actually is airflow, like you're talking about, what coil you're using, what wattage you're using, and then when it goes up the pipe,
the chamber, the chimney,
all the way up to the tip, it will cool down a little bit depending on how big the tip is. So that right there can make a huge difference. If you have an RDA that you can have the same temp, same everything else, same airflow, same size tip, you will get the same exact flavor using the same type of coil. Yes.
Yeah.
No.
The other problem, though, also is you got to remember a lot of these sub-ohm tanks. These guys are, I mean, I don't know if they're still doing it because I think some of the coils have changed, but they were in the upper 80s, 90s, and 100 watts. And now they want to go into, say, an RDA and build and still get that. Well,
yeah, you're getting that at like 75 on an RDA that you wouldn't get off of a tank.
Yeah, and that's how I try to tell people as well. You're going to save battery life going this route compared to with a sub-ohm tank because you're going to be using a coil that doesn't need a fucking 110 or 120. I don't even know what some of the smock ones are up to now. I think
Probably 5,000.
TFF 16 or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know what that thing goes up.
That probably goes up to about $120.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna find.
You're actually never going to be running round wire builds at $120. You're just not.
No.
I actually don't even advise running like aliens at $120, unless you are running certain type of aliens.
Yeah.
But if you want those aliens, yeah, then you're spending the money on it, and don't bitch that you're spending the money on it. But I'll tell you, you're spending $25 for a set of coils, and you fuck up that coil.
That's another $25.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I would always. I mean, if someone was, I mean, even with Brian's point about his avenue is kind of like you kind of need to know how to write HTML before you can use some fancy front page program to build a website. I mean, he's right. You kind of need to learn the ropes. Crawl before you walk. Walk before you run. But the thing that I would say, even to the person that is maybe not even willing to go into that, well, I'll try to build the round wire thing, is that you can go out and you can get cheap coil kits that have a variety of coils in it on the cheap as well, that are machine made, that you can afford, like they're pennies for a coil basically, and you can afford to make some screw ups. I would not direct somebody to Saddle Horse Blues or J-Boy or something like that, or any one of the multitude of really nice coil makers out there, because that's just not cost effective out of the gate.
Yeah, those. No, you're right. You're right. I mean, there's fuck. I can't name. I don't want to name any names, but there's plenty of coils out there that you can buy that are done. But like Brian is saying, you're not getting that. Basically, what I'm understanding, you're not getting that experience. You're not getting that
knowledge.
And for me, like when I made the switch, that consumed so much of my night that I forgot that I didn't need a cigarette. I mean, I was so focused on trying to get it right every night. And it was just like, okay. And then I just had, before I knew it, I had literally a shoebox just full of fucking of coils that I had finished. And I was like, every night I said, I'm going to spend about an hour. I'm just going to make some coils. I'm going to try different things. I'm going to try straight wire. I'm going to try twist it. Twist it was big back then. Everybody was twisting wire together, So I was making twist it. And then eventually I said, okay, I watched a couple of videos and I said, I can do a Clapton. What do I need? A drill. I got a drill and I got what I needed and I started making Claptons. And then you progress, it's a fused Claptons and stuff like that. But still, I think if you start the way Brian is saying, without going and buying your coils, and say just go on a Lightning Vape and buy a spool of wire, buy some 24 gauge wire, get yourself a kit like Tim had, and sit down and every night make. Everybody's got more than one fucking RDA. I know that.
Yeah. Well, another thing too is that people who we'll just say are addicted to nicotine and do get frustrated quite quickly. Having a secondary vape or building with somebody is going to be really better for yourself, because the fact of that, if you get frustrated with the one and only vape that you have and it's not working, have something else that you can have a vape with as you're doing it, so you can actually work efficiently and get frustrated. So this way, you can actually continue doing it, because some people who screw this is too hard, I'm done, I'm going back to sub-ohm tanks. Yeah, I can understand that mentality, but if you don't kind of keep with it, it's not going to really help you.
I've been making coils for 3 years now for my own use. And I had a friend come over last night, wanted me to put a build in for her. I was like, all right, sure, not a problem. it had been so long since I had put a build in for somebody else, I got frustrated.
Yep.
I actually got up, walked away for a few minutes because I was going to throw some shit.
Oh,
And it
there's
wasn't
definitely a level of frustration doing it for someone else. There's definitely a level of like anxiety doing it for someone else.
Right?
When I used to work at the shop and I had to build customers RDAs, I would just be like, for whatever reason, I could never get them even. I could never get the hotspots out, and I was just like, "Do you mind waiting like another 5 minutes while they're like, no, I have to, I have to go. I have to." I'm like, all right, no pressure. Let me figure this out.
That's what I tried.
But you know,
keep going.
so especially building.
Yeah.
I can honestly say I would not be alive today if it wasn't for building. Because when I hit my patch of depression and I had that night that I was going to commit suicide, my RDA fucking, my lead snapped in my RDA. So I had someone else build that for me before. But, you know, at like 2:30 in the morning, no one's awake. I can't be like, hey, I'm really like going to kill myself and I need to take my last couple of hits of nicotine before I fucking go. You know, and I was very adamant that, you know, that's what I was going to do. I had my drink. I was going to have my last drink, have my last couple of vapes, and I was going to go out in the yard and slit my throat, and it was going to be the end of it. By the time I figured out how to build my own coil, take my couple of hits, it passed.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, that was a mixture between physically figuring out how to do it and also going on fucking YouTube and looking up dick suckers fucking, you know, tutorials on how to build macros at the time.
Rips videos.
For as much of a piece of crap as that guy is, his coil videos are on point.
His earlier videos, I mean, really.
When he was just a tool and he wasn't a fucking asshole, yeah, I'll give that.
His earlier build videos were just a big, huge fucking help to me. I mean, I don't think that and the sample box page, because I was able to go there in the middle of the night at any time because there's we're just people from all over the world there. And I'd be like, fuck it, man, I can't get this. I keep, you know, I would do my rap. I'd put it in there and I would check it and it would be the wrong ohms. And I would get so fucking frustrated because we were back then, we were so limited to the device and what it would fire. Yeah. So if you were wrong, if you were off,
if you were off by a 0.1, forget it.
Was it that old Elite fire down to a 0.4 and you're supposed to make a 0.5 in order to work? Yeah.
And I would get so fucking mad. I'd go on there.
So frustrating.
This is what you're doing wrong, and that's, I think, to me, that was a huge part of my success of quitting smoking, was going into that building part, because for me, it's just that we all have that one part of the day where the cigarettes were like important to us, and to me, it was always at night. You know, and not having that cigarette at night and having my mind focus on something completely different than cigarettes, and focusing on just, for God's sakes, can I just get a 0.5 for fucking once, dude? Just once, dude.
That's all I need.
Just once.
Then once you have it built and you have it on the fucking ohm reader, you're like, Rah! And then it's like, wait a minute, it's not heated.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Did anybody do this trick back in the day before, like, we had devices that could fire? Use the fucking lighter to heat up the coils to get them to fucking stop.
I had that.
Yeah, that's how I learned about heat transfer, using metal fucking metal tweezers with a lighter heating up that coil. That heat transferred very quickly.
Yeah, it did.
That's the reason why I got the plastic screwdrivers. I had the metal ones.
I forgot about that
idea.
Plastic screwdrivers are awesome, besides the fact when you're putting on a fucking hot coil and you start
push it.
melting the
Yep.
back of the screwdriver.
Yep.
That and fucking getting that wire stuck in your goddamn finger, man. That
Oh God, that hurts like hell.
No. I used to be using 21 gauge nichrome.
Oh yeah, you're not getting that.
When you shoot 21 and I say shoot because when you're clipping 21 gauge nichrome that's wound up tighter than an 8-day clock on an RDA, and you fucking fire that bitch.
Yeah.
I've gotten it stuck under my eye before, where I actually had to like pull it out, and it went in about like that deep.
Oh shit.
Or then, of course, if you have a rug like I do, I'm still finding fucking bits of wire to this day.
Me and
Yeah,
me,
you
my
always
apartment in
find
my
the right
basement.
side of your foot, and you're like, son of a, what the hell?
Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck was the last time I used this gauge?
Yeah, and let's not forget the disappearing fucking screw. That
Oh,
one,
that's always fun too.
disappearing screw would fucking drive me nuts.
Well, anybody who's new to vaping and they want to move to like an RDA, I try to recommend
RDAs nowadays are 10 out of 10 better than the ones that
Oh,
we
yeah.
used.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't have to deal with 3-post designs
Yeah.
anymore.
No, like
Yeah.
the drop, for example, or even a velocity style deck, game changers.
Yeah. No,
My-
the three posts,
So much easier.
that was fucking nightmares. That
I
three
still have
posts,
3 posts.
and trying to get dual coils on that thing was just fucking.
That's what I learned though. I always tell people,
Why is only one coil firing? Why? Why is only one coil?
and you just forgot to tighten down a screw and you couldn't figure it out because it was still actually in there.
Yeah.
I've done there, been there.
Or the fucking screw stripped, and you
Oh my god.
would fucking fire.
I
No,
have
I-
an RDA with a strip screw. It was a great RDA too.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Now I can't use it.
Yeah,
Or you used to have to loosen the 510 on the bottom to fucking to maneuver that center post so you could fit 2 coils in,
yeah.
and then you strip the 510 pin. Oh fuck.
I was telling people that, and if you want to start building on your own, get a single coil RDA first.
Yep.
And progress up to a 2-post or like a 2-coil RDA later, because that's going to help you out right off the bat. You don't have to worry about level like this and level like this, all that sort of science. Just get a single post.
in the center.
Like this is just one of them, for instance.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Hadley.
There are lots of single coil RDAs out there, guys, and
Absolutely.
There's lots of RDAs that can be single coil too.
Yes. Yep. I agree with that too.
And we're not talking, in the $70, $80, $100 range. There are lots. And
30.
I just had this as an example. It was within
The
arm's reach.
price of RDAs from the time I started building to now has dropped so much.
Yeah. Well, Dotman's got one too. The little tiny guy like this.
Yeah, that's
It's a single coil one too.
that one I would not recommend to a newbie.
I agree. I totally agree.
That one takes some skill, man. That is a very tight little area to fucking put a single coil in. That RDA will fucking turn your hair gray. If you didn't,
There's still RDAs and RTAs I refuse to use, and I'm fucking 5 years in the game right now.
Yeah.
I will never touch certain RDAs or RTAs. People go, "Oh, but the flavor." I said, "That's fucking awesome." Not doing it.
Well, the flavor is subjective, though. It is very.
This
very
is
subjective.
one of the best RTAs I have ever used, and it is the easiest I have ever had to build and wick.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
The GATA from
The GATA.
QP.
Yeah. Well, let's get into that because that's kind of debatable. I'm sure we're all going to have a different thing, but I recommend not going into an RTA for your first thing. I recommend you want to make the jump. You make your jump to the RDA first, learn that. And I don't know how you guys feel about that, but there's just, me and Brian talked about it. There's just too much. There's too much you have to get right with most RTAs. I'll say most. Let's say 80% of the RTAs where you got to get coil height right, coil width right. You got to get position right. You got to get everything just cotton right. Everything, because there's
I would say cottoning. I would say your wicking is your number one defeat on RTAs.
Oh, yeah.
But after 3 times of getting juice dumping out of that bitch or getting burnt hits after fucking 10 minutes, you kind of learn how to do it right. I mean, it's just...
Or you have a new hole in your wall.
But there's
there's
nothing more frustrating is getting it all done, screwing it all back together, setting it on your desk, and you come back like 2 minutes later and all 5 mils of juice is on the table.
Yeah. I had a Modfather RTA when they first came out, and it was one of the easiest RTAs I have ever built because it was velocity style, so you just went boom, and it was so simple. The wicking, though, on that, if you were a fraction of an inch off on your wicking, it would flood.
Yeah.
If you were an inch over, it would burn hit every time.
The Geek Bake one. What was the Geek Bake one that was like that?
I
love that RTA because if you got it right, that thing was just freaking amazing. It's probably like 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
The avocado?
Not the avocado.
Fuck the avocado. Fuck the avocado.
Exactly.
I got it down. I got the avocado down.
But you probably got the fucking Kylan down too.
But no, it's the other one other than it wasn't the cotton.
Oh, the Griffin.
The Griffin.
Oh my God, the Griffin! If you nailed that,
it was beautiful.
It hit like a fucking $200 RTA.
They made a swappable coil deck one like that. I can't remember what it was called.
Oh,
but I loved that thing.
The fuck was it?
Yeah,
was it the Pegasus?
I don't know. I'm kind of looking as we go here, but no, I love that thing. Like
Tim, you have a question.
I do.
Yes.
Okay, so back in the day,
the RDA, Madison, or the RTA?
Oh, she's probably talking about the RDA that everybody's gotten. The
Asgard RDA.
The Asgard. Yeah.
I need to find my non-sprung 510 for that. I don't know where it went.
Yeah. So,
speaking of RDAs and RTAs, who remembers the number one thing from every RTA and RDA? You still get them to this day.
That still gets done to the deck.
It still comes with the RDA RTA to this day.
Oh.
And if you were a user, you had probably a shoebox full of them.
Oh God!
Mini screwdrivers.
Mini blue screwdriver.
Yeah.
Love them little things.
Never use them to tighten the fucking screws on the RTA.
It was called the Eagle Tank.
I remember people posting pictures on Instagram. Blue screwdriver for sale.
Yep. I remember Blue Screwdriver Army, and then there was one company that actually made a red screwdriver.
Just the fuck.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And everybody wanted it just for the fucking red screwdriver.
I thought you were going to go into. I thought you were going to. The black one.
The black one. It's not the same as the see-through fucking blue and the red.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say remember the old RDAs and RTAs used to always come with the wire builds with the cotton already in them. I thought you were going to go there.
Oh, that's old school. Never use those.
No.
Well, we were building coils around silica wick. In some of our early RDAs.
Yeah,
I still wouldn't trust the silica wick from the China fucking RDA.
Jesus.
No.
I used to take those out and put them in a jar just in case. I figured there's going to be a day where I don't have the wire or anything, and I never touched them, thank God. But I'd probably boil them first or put them in alcohol.
Well, do we not remember the days of boiling?
Yeah.
I mean, and how much shit that caused because some guys were trolling and was like, "Oh, make sure you boil your batteries before using them." I remember. I think that was what was it? It was either Juice Lords or Juice Junkies at one point that everyone was like, "Yeah, boil your batteries before you use them because you always used to boil your RDAs and your RTAs because they had all the fucking grease on it.
The machining on them. Yep, that was Juice Junkies actually.
That was Juice Junkies. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was a couple times where I was really excited about getting a product and an RDA, and I didn't do that. And I remember, I'll never forget that fucking taste of that machine oil, that China fucking machine oil. It was just so fucking
The
gross.
one place that was worse than China was the Philippines.
The Philippines.
I got a V1 Mephisto back in the day. I was so excited. I didn't boil it. I didn't wash it or anything. I just went, fuck it. I already had coils built. I just installed them, screwed it on, took a hit, and almost threw up.
You can't get that taste out of your mouth for hours, too. It just stays there.
And you know it. You know it. The moment you hit it, you were like,
Oh, that's not going to end well.
that's like building an RDA, throwing it in your backpack because you just are about to leave the house and go to the shop or wherever.
Mhm.
And you screw it on to show someone and you forget about it and you never wet it.
Yeah.
You never dripped it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you just go, oh, fireball because you inhaled burning cotton.
There's two tricks I learned back in the day. One was back in the day, every device had a quirk, and you just need to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like the Eagle tank I was talking about earlier. The quirk for that is you had to fill it with liquid, but then you had to turn it upside down and then open up the juice flow, and then turn it back again in order to vape it. And then once you put a new coil in, you had to put juice on it and then vape it real like 1 or 2, and then open the juice flow for it to actually get juice back again. It was the weirdest thing. In order to store it, you had to keep it upside down.
Yeah. I were like that.
That's way too much work for me.
Now, like Matthew was saying, like with the whole dry hits, I used to store all my RDAs pre-built, ready to go. But I learned that same thing multiple times with series mods is that I would fire them first to make sure that there's juice on them.
Oh, yeah.
You know how many times I've ruined cotton by doing that?
Yeah.
All the time. Happened all the time. And then I had to redo the whole thing all over again.
Yeah.
Especially the series mods.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
I did that with an MCM underground one time. Series mechanical 18650. I had what I have. I had like a 0.28 on it, and I built it. Then I had to deal with like a rush of customers. Well, it was a 0.28. I did the math on it, and I didn't want to go below like a 0.25.
Yeah, the threshold. You're getting close to getting there.
Then again, at the time, I was vaping for fucking 3 years.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but I had a slew of customers come in, and I was just like, I just want to fucking hit my mod. And I was like, oh, that's right, I built it. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I totally fucking dripped it. And I just fucking ripped.
That was a ball of fire that you inhaled. That was a ball of fire you inhaled.
Oh yeah. That's happened to almost all of us at least once.
Just building and it's sitting on my desk, and my other mod that I'm hitting that's functional is right there, and I'm building and I finish and I get it done and I step away and I come back and I grab that one thinking it's my one that's set up to go, and yeah, fucking disgusting, man.
And then what was the other thing that always happened?
See, we're letting you all know all the bad things that could possibly
the absolute worst thing that could happen for any builder and dripper. Anybody want to take a guess?
Man.
Without the top cap on?
Kiss your coils.
Oh, yeah. No, remember that time we used to have people that would post pictures.
He has a nice little video of that.
I have never in 5 years done it.
I done it once.
I've gotten close.
Yeah, I've had
about here, and I'm like, oh wait. So
I've gotten close because I always I started because I used to hate to get the splatter when I pre-fired before I put it in my mouth.
Yeah.
So I from forever just once it's in my mouth, then I'll fire it. one time I picked it up and went like that, and I went, oh,
Yeah.
put it back on.
Yeah, I had that.
Wasn't that the days of the stovetop coils that you'd do that? Because I did that with that.
I mean, I've almost done it with like parallel 22 gauge before.
That'd hurt.
That'll definitely make you say some words.
I had a fucking blister, man, for fucking weeks on there. Fucking lips from that goddamn thing.
If you go from like building your regular coils and you go in kind of the sequence that we kind of talked about.
Yeah.
If you go with your regular coil and you want to advance up just a tad bit more, if you do parallels after that, that's a good step up. It's not a huge, gigantic step, but it's something that you can start learning with a little bit more.
Yeah,
I would avoid parallels altogether. Honestly, if you're not running a mech mod, there's really no point of parallels.
And this place is your place.
Oh my god,
Well, I'm kind of staying like how I progress. Is like I went from regular coils to parallels to twisteds to things after that.
Well, so the only reason I'm saying parallels because your parallels.
It's like
you have to keep them so tight together, even a slight looseness actually can cause a short.
Yep.
I would say, if anything, go from round wire and then go to buying pre-made Clapton. Because you can get it from like Geek Vape, and I think Lightning Vape sells it too, pre-made Clapton strands.
Mm-hmm.
Which then you're just going to get more flavor. You're going to get more vapor production from that.
Well, we kind of get to the point now to where, like with pre-mades, is you get the whole taste thing with that. So, like, I had a big argument with somebody before. Is somebody told me that Aliens had far better flavor than Claptons.
No.
And we chit-chat a bit, and there's not a huge difference in my own eyes. Like, okay, so Aliens can be like a fused Clapton, I should say. They're very, very similar.
Yeah.
One's just got more of a curve, the other one's got more of a straight. The
well,
flavor,
you know what the purpose of the Aliens were, right?
To me, no.
The purpose of Aliens was done for competition. Because that's where
the one factor. Yeah.
Little bit of the history from it was so for cloud competitions, it's all about your production versus your power.
Yep.
Which you get your production from surface area and your resistance and your power. So people went from your basic your 24 gauge to your 22 gauge to your 24 parallel to your 22 parallel. But the problem with that is your ohm resistance is so low that it heats up a lot faster and it burns out before you get your full count in for your inhale. So they started a little bit using Claptons, but the problem with Claptons are on a mech, they take longer to ramp up because there's so much more surface area on there. But when you go to Aliens,
why is it
because they're so tight together? Well, proper Aliens are so tight together.
Proper is a keyword.
The way that it ramps up, it creates almost an entire full surface.
I give up. I can't.
So you're getting that vapor production and the density off of just the coil alone. With the Aliens, though, and so the Aliens and the fuse Claptons, which are basically the same thing, minus the fact that one is reverse wounded and creates the little swiggle. It should be the same in all reality, unless you look at it as just that fraction of a millimeter gives you that more surface area. I've just gotten so used to Aliens, that's what I use.
Yeah.
But back in the day, I actually preferred the flavor of the Claptons.
Me too. I love my Claptons. I mean, the Aliens, the difference too, I think a lot has to do with the way the E-juice surface.
That's not happening.
Yeah. It's just the way the juice stays on the surface of the alien. It just holds more of your e-liquid. Is the way with Clapton, it kind of goes right down to the middle portion of the coil itself. It's basically you're getting your heat from the inner core is where it's coming from. Where with the Alien, you're getting the inner core to heat up, but you also got pockets of e-juice being held by the way the wires is stranded on with an Alien. Correct? Does that sound about right? Or am I off?
Yeah.
See,
No, that
here is
sounds pretty accurate.
Science.
Science.
Right? But like to me, like I feel like I can build a fused Clapton far quicker than I can build an Alien.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So-
I think most
Dude,
people.
I think that's more of a fact, not more of a
I
a
get
me
you to trying to make a fucking Alien.
Right?
I mean,
that's-
unless you're
that's-
Turk in disguise.
I won't tell you how much fucking wire I've thrown away. And people are like, "Oh, dude, just go to 40 gauge." I'm like, I can't even fucking
You
see 40 gauge, dude.
I was talking to some CloudCom people before, and they were like, "Oh, I only use these two different coils." And I told them, I said, "What if I just came in and just built like a whole bunch of like 28 gauge small little coils? Would that give me a whole bunch of surface area for me to do a CloudCom?" They're like, "I never
No.
thought about it that way." I'm like, I don't exactly know how many coils it would take or whatnot, or the science behind it. But I'm kind of thinking like, if you want more surface area, you need more wire. Well, if cotton has juice around the wire that's heating up, would that kind of be the same thing? And like we had this long discussion about it, and
I hope everybody mentioned the fact that as soon as you add a fucking coil to it, you're decreasing the resistance. Because after a while, you're kind of reaching that very dangerous territory. Not to mention, it's not so much the surface area; it's because your different wire strains with the thickness give you that surface area. So if you have a bunch of 28, not to mention also multiple coils are a bitch to keep all even.
Yeah, they are.
Yep. We were just having this very weird, like intense, like discussion about like surface area and like the size of the wire and all that stuff. Like we sat there for a few hours just talking about this whole thing and trying to figure out everything. Is really interesting, actually.
What was that RDA? The big one. It was like a 40 mil.
That was the Vaporgate one.
Yeah, which one? The Colorado or the Mason?
Yeah,
the
Mason. Mason was the big
because it was originally the Mason. Then they made the fucking Colorado, which was like 60, 80 millimeters.
Yeah. But remember the pictures of those RDAs? They're like fucking 20 coils in there, man. I was just like, dude, how do you even do that, dude?
The Mason is the RTA. The Colorado is the RDA.
Yeah, the RDA. It was
the Mason was also an RDA.
Yeah, it was it was like fucking 30. It came out just about the same time as the Buddha. Remember the Buddha was like 20 to 30 millimeters, and the Buddha too. You could put fucking.
Well, I love the Buddha because it was a fucking 4-post.
Yeah, okay. I still have my Buddha, and I remember getting 6 coils in that damn thing, but I was pulling my hair out of my head trying to get them all to fire right. And then I see this guy post a picture, and he's got like 12 of them in there, dude. I was like, how the fuck did you do that?
My second RDA I ever had was a Cerebus. That was the first time I ever learned how to fucking deal with a giant.
That's
the cone.
Yeah, that's their RTA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's the Mason dump tank.
The dump tank. That's the one.
So against the
my question is, why do you need that?
That's a whole. What is that? That's
do you really like the flavor that you're going to be stuck with that long?
This thing's like over 10
battery
millimeters,
box
I think, 10 millimeters of liquid in here at least.
It's a good desk It's a good desk tank.
Oh, yeah. Here. You use one of those on one of these.
Yep.
Well, yeah, because that's the only thing that can power it.
Well,
I've put a Buddha on top of a stacked mod
to an outlet.
Well, to be fair,
I do not recommend.
To be fair,
I did actually put a build on there, build enough to put on a mini volt and actually vape out of it.
Yeah,
and it worked very well, and it did last me almost a month and a half.
Well, hey guys, I don't want the show to go more than 2 hours, so we got a minute for everybody's goodbyes. We'll start with Matt. Matt, you got anything?
Yeah, California, don't let what happened to New York happen to you. So call your representatives. I don't give a fuck if it's COVID or not. Call them and tell them to veto SB 793 because it will be very bad for the state. Get involved and shameless plug, keep your eyes out for something about Washington, D.C. because we are just waiting to hear back from the Park Service.
Perfect. Yeah. Also, I put the link to that bill. I'm sorry, I lost it there for a second, but the link is in this feed. So if you click that, it'll take you right to the page if you're a California resident, because you're going to have to put your zip code in there and fill it out, man. It takes a couple seconds. Hit that. It's on the CASA page. If you want to go that route, you can go. Everybody that's a Sample Box member should be a CASA member anyway. So that's also in there. Click that link, go register, and then you can follow their links to the California page, and you can write to your representative. So, Brian, you got what you got? What do you got for North Dakota? Snow.
Well, first of all, I do second everything that Matt said. He's got very valid points and everything right there. The other thing I do like to say is if you're trying to move from one side to the other, reach out, let us help you, and let's try to make sure that you're going on the right path.
Yep.
And let us really help you out and try to go in your stages and try not to go above your own knowledge.
Yep.
That's kind of what I got.
Good point. Yeah. Always use the Sample Box member page, guys. If you guys got a question on coils or RDAs, if you're having issues, don't be, everybody knows, man. Within seconds, someone's going to respond to you. Usually it's Tim, but Tim's quick. Go ahead, Tim. You're up.
Yeah. Beyond all the wonderful things that were already said, I would just say this to the people that are kind of in flux at this point, because I think you were able to get on a great little train right at the right time in your life. But, the idea here is that with all this stuff going on that everyone else is bringing up, don't take your eye off the prize. Don't lose hope. Don't get frustrated. Work hard to get off those stinkies and stick with vaping, because it is what we say. And, just don't lose hope. Beyond that, And
the only guy that's a Green Bay Packers fan, Tom, you're up.
I have nothing to add other than what the three gentlemen before me said, so listen to them.
Yeah.
Go Pack, go.
That too.
And I think my camera is my image is frozen because I'm not.
Oh yeah, you're frozen. You're like in a really awkward look too.
You're a milk carton picture right now.
What the fuck, Brian?
You said the magic words, California and SBC 739. That pissed me off.
They big brothered him. They're shutting him down.
That pissed me off. I could switch the camera too. Let's see if that makes a difference. Now no, it doesn't. So it might there.
Wait, go back.
Hold on, we got a keyboard.
There's my keyboard. Hey, well, I say, hey, everybody, stick to it. Don't give up hope.
A big thumbs up.
Also, we can talk about RDAs and e-juice and all this stuff, but if we don't fight back, we're not going to have that. So, it's great. Learn to build and do all these other things, but don't forget, how you got there, and it could be taken away from us if we don't fucking step up. And it's like Matt says, it's just we need to get involved. Stop saying, I'm a DIYer. I can do this. I can do this. I can get no, dude. Think about the other guy. Think about the guy that lives out in the sticks that can't get his e-juice, from a vape shop. Think about the guy that that's on the edge, and he's maybe into it 3 months, and now all of a sudden all this stuff is going to be taken away from him, and that guy's going to go back to smoking. I'm sure a majority of the guys on this panel will never go back to smoking, no matter what happens. I've been vaping for a long time. I know Brian has, and Matt and Tom. We're not going to go back to smoking, but there is that guy that's 3 months in, 2 months in, is borderline. He's just, he may snap and go back. So, that's the guy you want to fight for, and fight. We got to do it. That's all I got. I don't want to hear no more. I can DIY, or I'm not going to do this. This is a waste of time. No, dude, just fucking do it and get
Listen to your father.
Yes, just and do it. That's it. I mean, that's the bottom line, dude. Stop talking and do it. You know.
Well, how many years have all of us been vaping? Like John, how many years have you been in the industry?
8 years. 8 years, man.
Tom?
4, 5.
Is
Next.
it 4 or is it 5? Come on.
5.
You son of a bitch.
Nat?
On and off since 2009, 2008.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm on 6. So
Yeah.
I mean, between all of us, we got a lot of knowledge. And if anybody would just on the page, just reach out, just have a question. We'll try to any one of us will try to pop in and try to help you out.
Yep.
Yep.
You can tag anybody in this panel is on the Sample Box page. If you need
Tag me or hit me up in my inbox.
Slide into the DMs.
Tag me and hit me up in the inbox, because if you hit me up in the inbox and I'm not friends with you, it's going to go into the wonderful
stalker folder. I call it stalker folder.
Yeah, which I don't check as often as I should. But if you tag me and say, "Hey, I PM'd you," I'll get back to you.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks again for all your time, Matt. Thank you.
Thank you for having me,
guys. All right, everybody.
Good night.
All the links. All the links you guys need are in this stream. The CASA, StreamYard, all of them are in there, guys. All right, thank you again, guys.
Woo-hoo.
See you Wednesday.
Later.